8 million people have antibodies. They don't know, they're not diagnosed yet, but they have symptoms, which indicate a person's chance of developing autoimmune disease is significantly greater. And the American Autoimmune Related Disease Association, also known as AARDA, estimates that number is closer to 50 million Americans, citing incomplete data to the NIH estimate. Something that's not being talked about is this variable that was thrown in our world, which is called COVID. And if you had vaccination, there can be like some of you guys are perfectly fine. Many others, on the other hand, have totally disrupted their immune system in a way where there's long haul COVID patients that are still struggling to fend off the COVID vaccine or even COVID infection, okay? And what is the cause of autoimmunity? Many people think they know, but really it's up for guesswork, right? At best. There are so many triggers for autoimmune disease, including stress, which is completely intangible. There's the diet, potentially. Most people work with diets right now. Lack of exercise, insufficient sleep, and smoking. Okay, this is the listed things that are potential triggers medically. Anything that causes chronic inflammation, though, in the body can eventually lead to development of an autoimmune disease. You've heard of the term anti-inflammatory, right? Anti-inflammatory diet, exercise, medications, which could be one of the reasons why they're becoming increasingly common to have some type of autoimmune disease. And studies indicate these diseases likely result from interactions between genetic and environmental factors like gender, race, and ethnicity. Characteristics are also linked to a likelihood of developing an autoimmune disease, okay? Stress is the number one factor, though, that's triggering autoimmunity. And stress is really fight or flight state of being. We're going to kind of get to know what that means. We're going to understand the autonomic nervous system. But remember what I said about stress, right? It is an intangible thing we can't measure. And yet it's the number one trigger. So we have to get to know what that is and how it affects us and how we can help ourselves to get rid of or manage stress better. Okay? So problem with autoimmunity is that autoimmune disease are really notoriously difficult to identify. I don't care who you are, what expert you are. And many patients suffer for years without a medical diagnosis. How many of you guys had mysterious symptoms years before you were actually diagnosed, right? We're going to talk about the timeline with autoimmune disease as well. And the truth is that immune system is so complex and we haven't even begun to fully understand it. And this was said by the expert of autoimmune disease, okay? So most of you have the following symptoms that come and go, and it can vary depending on the time of the day, and it's hard to really put your finger on. But most people are focused on the food sensitivity, and that's the big thing. And I'm going to debunk a lot of that. I'm not saying it's not relevant at all, but it's not where you should start is all I'm saying. And I'll explain exactly why, okay? You experience fatigue, pain, rash, anemia is also common, which also limit your functional ability. And functional ability is your ability to do everyday chores, get up and feel like you can perform your duties as a mom, as a wife, as a career-driven professional, or even a friend or mother or a daughter, what have you. Sometimes it takes you going to your son's graduation, right? I've missed that before because of my autoimmune flare. These are some things that doesn't get talked about. These are functional ability. And declining functional ability really robs you of your livelihood, affecting your income, your career, your relationships, and your confidence. And due to stress from all of the above, it affects your health, right? And so we're going to really tackle the stress part and how you can think better about that to reduce the stress level in your life. Stress level or stress creates inflammation, right? Inflammation is considered, most of you have the following symptoms, like I said, that affects everything, right? And stress really is inflammation, and inflammation is considered the ultimate trigger for autoimmunity, okay? You've all heard of the inflammation affecting you, and it's when immune system really, right? Inflammation is when immune system reacts to clear the bodies of whatever it is that causes disease in the body. And stress really is now considered the root cause of autoimmunity, as well as other common chronic illnesses. Okay, so keep that in mind. So, in talking about stress, I want you to understand that stress causes what's called the fight or flight response, which is part of the autonomic nervous system, the sympathetic division. Okay, there's two parts to the autonomic nervous system, and one is the sympathetic nervous system, and then the other is the parasympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system is the common zen, which provides your body with the balance, right? It's the regeneration. It's when your body's about to, or body's allowed to heal. And the sympathetic nervous system is the fight or flight. It's when your body is highly stressed out. It's like when, in the Paleolithic era, we used to have to run from saber-toothed tiger for our lives. And we would be in this state of, oh my goodness, running for our lives. And that creates a lot of issues. And that's why I'm trying to do two things at once here. Making sure that you guys can see me because we're going to be doing the exercise in a minute. So please bear with me. Technical difficulty sometimes. I'm not trying to let it get the best of me, but I'm experiencing a little bit of stress myself right now. I don't want to let you down. So I just want to make sure. Here comes me with the camera, and you're going to be able to see me in a minute. And luckily, you are still able to hear me. And so these are the moments where we can really give ourselves grace and make sure that we're able to. I'm back. Okay. So like I said, there's two parts to the autonomic nervous system. We talked about stress and inflammation and why that's important. There is the sympathetic fight or flight and parasympathetic, which is Zen and common Zen. The sympathetic nervous system is when the body thinks you're in danger. It releases highly inflammatory hormones and even neural chemicals in the body to enable you to be ready to be fleeing when you need to because you're in danger. The problem is that it's not a sustainable state to be. With increased cortisol levels, not only does it cause weight gain, but brain fog, anxiety, depression, pain, insomnia, all the things that are autoimmune, isn't it? And so what causes autoimmunity, I really, really feel that it is the imbalance in your autonomic nervous system is why I need you to understand the physiological basis. Because here's the thing. You can do whatever I say. Let's move and let's do this and do these exercises, and you can do that. But without knowing the why, you'll never shift your perspective to consider it important. Because what's true is that even though you want to do something, your body won't behave in a certain way because you're thinking your belief system may be holding on to autoimmunity is not curable and I should take it easy. So therefore I won't do it because you believe it doesn't help anyway, without you even knowing that that's what you're holding on to. So there's a lot of things that I want to uncover with you. So you recognize this about not only you, it's just human nature. I had to learn this the hard way. So what are some of the options for autoimmunity? It's all things outside of us without really working on what's inside of us, like our beliefs, right? Limiting beliefs that we hold, the thoughts and feelings that actually need to shift through getting strong and physically and mentally, right? That's not ever talked about. It's almost like we're broken because we have autoimmunity and everything is about limitations in what we can do, what we can eat, what we can, whatever, right? It's all about that and focused in on that. And so if you look at different diets, it's all about limiting certain things, plant-based diets, ketogenic diets, intermittent fasting, autoimmune paleo. But food is food, and I want you to be really gracious about it. And if you want to start there and create a problem, and emphasize the problem, you're always going to end up with more problems. And this is true. But when you really think about, I want to be healthy and vital, and I want to be free from health crisis due to autoimmunity, that's certainly where you can go. And we want to start from the inside out to know exactly what works. Because the truth is, every single one of those diets, and you guys might be holding on to the dogmatic ways of such diets. If you buy into an expert, it's not you, but that expert, even though it may not be working, you can placebo yourself thinking and believing that that's helping. So it might have temporary gains, as in you might have physical benefits, but sustainability and its ability to cure you once and for all, it's not there. If you're really being honest, it worked until it didn't, and you're looking for other measures. I was one of those 22 years in this industry of doing everything. It just didn't do it for me because I still experienced the volatility of all of it. There's the medical medium. I've heard a lot, the celery juice, right? Who hasn't tried that, right? The keto, paleo. And like I said, tons of research to validate that they work. Okay. But it doesn't work for everybody, does it? How can everything so contradictory work for everybody? And that's where you guys stand. Confusion of the mind. Some of you guys may never get started on a proper diet because it's so confusing, whatever that means, right? We know anti-inflammatory diets or autoimmune paleo that says autoimmune in it, so that must work for me. We make a lot of assumptions, but we don't truly know. I just want you to know that knowledge is really the precursor, or it precedes the experience. Knowledge is all about your mind, and the body is all about the experience. If you don't apply it, if you don't follow through, like if we share a lot of the movement patterns today, how to be properly aligned physically and to move so that you can really maintain your functional mobility, and I'm going to emphasize why that's important in a minute. Oh, unless you do that, you understand the why, it's not sustainable. You have to be enrolled in it, right? It can't be something that I have to tell you what to do every time, because then you'll live a life full of dependency. You'll never be free. What happens when we're full of fear, because autoimmunity breeds a lot of fear, we shift to the lowest part of the brain, which is the amygdala. It's the primitive brain, right? It's what most of the animals run on. They get scared, they flee, right? And they do something they don't really think. They don't have the ability to think things through. It's how most animals make their decisions, not based on intellect and logic, but simply because of fear of changing something. And I know all of you guys, when shaken up with autoimmunity, we fear something. So we really stay a narrow path. And I'm telling you, that's a problem, because you will never progress and break out of that cycle. Okay. You have to invite new experiences, even if your current circumstances is not benefiting them. And what I mean by that is many of you choose to stay exactly where you are, despite the fact that you're getting sicker and sicker, and you think that's fate and destiny. And you might be doing things that are futile, not helping, but you're doing them anyway. Same thing over and over, hoping you'll get different results. But I'm here to tell you, you won't get different results. I've been there, done that, seen many patients do the same. And I know many of you guys are likely nodding your heads, you're right. That's exactly where I'm at, right? Over time, you realize the treatments themselves perpetuate stress and disease. It's all about limiting everything. How can you avoid the sun, for heaven's sake, right? How can you expect me to take the medications that limit me from living my life? Because many of the chemotherapeutic agents, the immunosuppressive agents for autoimmunity, they tell us not to see the sun because we get more sensitive. It's worsening. Some of the foods that we can't eat, it's the foods that we love. And when you suck the joy out of life, then what happens, right? Knowledge is the precursor to the experience, you guys. That's why I'm giving you a lot of knowledge up front. We gain knowledge through our mind, but in order for us to experience it, we must experience it through our body. And that's why I'm going to have you move in a bit, okay? Think about it. When stress is the biggest factor, and stress is something that you drive through your thoughts and your feelings, how can they fix you with external interventions? How can you fix your own stress with the diet? Even though you eat a clean diet, I guarantee you, if your stress still exists, it's not going to do no good. It's like drinking kale juice when your anxiety is so overloaded. I've thrown up beet juice and kale juice in the past because I wasn't in a state. Like my body state stress level was so high that I couldn't take in what's good. It doesn't matter, right? I really need you to get this. And that's like claiming to exercise on your behalf. Like I'll say, I'm going to exercise on your behalf so you can gain from it. When really you have to be the one to do it, right? I always say, I can only take the horse to the water. It's the horse that needs to partake in the water, right? I can show you guys what works from my experience of living with detrimental conditions of autoimmunity. And so I really want you to listen closely. Does this all make sense to you guys? Please say yes or no. And nobody can do anything for you until you're enrolled, right? The stressors in your life, only you know what they are. In fact, many of you live with stress and you think it's something you can't change. It's very intimate to you. Like your relationships, and you think it can't be something that you can change. It might be with your most loving and close ones. It might be with your child, with your spouse, with your mom. had all of the above. It might be your financial issues and your health struggles. I can't give you a pill and expect you to heal when every day you struggle with your spouse, kids, and financial struggles and family members, right? And so I want you to understand that there is a timeline, okay? It starts from the left to the right. Green is something that nobody talks about. That's healthy and vitality that you can regain. Most people talk about having symptoms without a diagnosis, and that's the initial phase where things are volatile. That's when you're seeking your doctor. And for years, you might have been normal on your labs, so it's not a good health metric. But you have symptoms of all the things with autoimmunity. I certainly did. Nobody could figure it out, right? My labs weren't normal until I was super sick, okay? And then there is the diagnosis phase where things get stable because then you get corticosteroids commonly, some Plaquenil, or some other immunosuppressive agents that they try. But really, the mental burden and the stress is gone because now you know. You have a stamp of something definite versus an unknown disease you feel like you're dying, right? So I call that a stable condition because you're on medications. And then your mind goes to, how can I get better? Perhaps, right? And then you go through a flare, which becomes very volatile once again. And that's when you experience a lot of the inflammatory things, okay? Inflammatory reactions, all the things come up for you. It might be hair loss, rash, fatigue, pain, whatever your flares look like. And then there's the remission phase where things are stable again. You take medications, it gets volatile, and then it's stable. You think you're good, and many of you guys are there, but you're still not, because I was there for a very long time until last year. And I got really, really sick. I missed 2 of my boys' graduations, one from middle school, one from high school. And it was important phases, and I had to really sit out of many vacations because of it. And I have done so in the past. And so that's not where you want to be either. Don't think you're safe out of the woods. What you have to do is get out of the stability phase into the healthy and vital phase. It's beyond the autoimmune cycle where you can get strong and fit mentally and physically, and you know exactly, and you're empowered to do the right thing, okay? I just want you to also know this might make sense, but your mind, our minds, does not make decisions based in logic. It's highly elemental because of our amygdala. And again, when struck with autoimmunity and we're fear-based, making decisions out of fear, we're going to always sit back and listen to authority who doesn't know much about what to do for you other than symptomatic Band-Aid approach, okay? So that's what we're up against. I've lived with autoimmunity for 22 years and experienced the volatility and stability over and over again through 4 to 5 courses of detrimental flares, only when I thought I was in full remission and completely healed. And like most of you, I've tried everything under the sun from my expertise of having nutritional background, the movement, the meditation piece, everything, right? And I'm here to tell you all the superficial things, surface level approaches like changing the diet, and everything does not work. So I started to look at what does really healthy mean? Because when I asked autoimmune patients, what do you want, right? And most of you said, I just want to feel better. I want to be free from pain. But really, that's marginal. That still doesn't make you be healthy, right? Most of the autoimmune patients right now that are undiagnosed live and on paper, based on labs, are healthy because no markers are off, but they're just waiting for a diagnosis. That doesn't make them healthy. They still struggle with digestive issues, brain fog, rashes, all the things. And you think they're healthy, but they're not. So this is how I define healthy, okay? There's an acronym. H means harmonious. That's your mind-body alignment, and everything is harmonious within the body. Easy, it's gotta be easy, but more ease, like this ease, right? This is ease, right? That's what you have to establish to be free from this disease. But it also has to be easy for us, right? Because we like simple. And A is for awareness, self-awareness, and mind-body connection, which tells us exactly what we need and what we don't need. L is for self-love. We need to pour a lot of self-love because many of us struggle with self-loathing, self-sabotage, okay? And then T is what's really true for us, not for me, telling you what's true for me and you believing into my truth. No, it's you have to know and figure out what your truth is. And the only way you can do that is through you connecting with yourself H is for healing. Everything we do should be healing to our body and mind. And Y stands for you, because everything is focused on you. So I want you to understand that I redefined the health metrics, because many people think, oh, what is healthy? Well, you guys really don't know. And if you don't know where you're going, you're not going to get there, right? It's like having a GPS system without plugging in where you're going to go. You don't know where you're going to end up. You just want to go better place than where you are right now when you live with autoimmunity, and that's not enough. You need to be clear. We measure health differently, okay, in our programs. And this is because many autoimmune patients don't truly understand what being healthy means to them. Based on our definition of healthy, you'll be keeping track of some alkaline health metrics throughout your 5 days with me, so that you can kind of understand, oh my goodness, this really clarifies, right? This is all about mind-body fitness challenge, right? So your homework is at the end of each day, including today, starting today, please rank yourself on each of the health or alkaline health metrics, okay? So what level of health are you, okay? So based on where you rank on each of the alkaline health metric scales, you'll fall under one of the following categories below. We know that when the body is acidic, you're super sick. When we're going through flares or symptoms, that's when we're really acidic. Our body goes into this crisis mode. And if you scored below 15, you're an acidic patient. If you scored between 15 to 50, you're a struggling patient. Many of you guys are there. And if you scored 50 to 80, you're doing all the things. You're in remission. You're an aspiring health nut. You're making all the efforts, okay? If you scored 80 to 100, this is the most ideal state that I want you to be on, is that you're a health or mind-body master, okay? That's where I want you to be. So today you'll be guided through all 10 of the alkaline health metric scales. Where you rank yourself on day 1 will determine your baseline for the challenge, okay? Add up your initial ranking from each scale, and your total will determine what level of healthy you currently are. Throughout our challenge, you'll learn how to move your body gently and safely in ways that will start to build strength, flexibility, and fitness, both physically and mentally, because physical strength always translates into your mental well-being. Then on day 5, you'll add up your scale ranking again to see how you've improved over the course of our 5 days together, okay? So the scale looks like this. Number 1 is the energy scale, okay? How much energy from 1 to 10. Number 2 is your joy scale. Being joyful is all about how content and happy are you, okay? You rank yourself from 1 to 10. And then the attitude scale, which I consider to be the most important. Attitude measures how inspired and motivated you are. And let me tell you, if you're unmotivated, but you believe autoimmune paleo diet works for you, how do you expect yourself to cook the right meals, right? You're not motivated. It's not sustainable. So that's why I want you to really measure your attitude scale, also to be aware of it. And then number 4 is your physical strength scale. Physical strength is a prerequisite to optimal health. And I don't want you to be marginally healthy without, in remission. I want you to be vital and as healthy as possible, right? And strong and fit. Number 5 is your sleep quality scale. Rank it from 1 to 10. And then number 6, the most common thing, it comes from stress, digestion scale, is why we talk a lot about food sensitivity, but nobody addresses the managing the stress. And how do you actually do that, right? And then the next one is, I can't really see this, sleep quality scale, attitude scale. Did I go back? Oh, hold on. Oh, pain scale, right? Pain-free scale is the way I did it because I wanted to put a positive spin on the scale. So I want you to make sure that 10 is absolutely no pain, you're painless. And then 1 is you're feeling so much pain that you have to go to the emergency room, okay? Number 8 is your presence scale. Like, how much in your day are you really truly present with the people in your life, or are you always living from the past, projecting into the future? You know what I'm talking about. Number 9, most important, gratitude scale, because research has shown if you show gratitude, you cannot be unhappy. When you're full of gratitude, your body shifts into this healing mode. And whatever you think and believe, it really changes you at the molecular level, even changing your genetic expression. It really does speak the language, and when you think and believe positive things, it really does change your physiology. And I really need you to understand that. Okay. It's not hoopla stuff. It's not woo-woo stuff. This is scientific relevance. Number 10 is most important, mobility scale. Everything is most important, right? Mobility scale, your ability to move throughout the day. Do you need dependency? Do you need assistance from somebody else to move, go to the bathroom? These are things that are really going to deteriorate your confidence, self-confidence. I just want to speak to the psychosomatic disorder before I go any further. I really want you to understand there is a translation, right? Psychosomatic disorder is a psychological condition involving the occurrence of physical symptoms, usually lacking medical explanation. So when the medical doctors can't explain it, they say that is woo-woo, that's pseudoscience. But that's where my focus is, because that's where most of you have problems. People with this condition may have excessive thoughts, feelings and concerns and fears about the symptoms which affect their overall health. What did I say about autoimmunity? Everything is fear-mongering. It's all about limitations, fearing food, fearing sun, fearing meds, side effects, fearing autoimmunity. Like, we need to stop that and think about our health, going towards that. Think inflammation from stress response. Some of the example, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to think about me squeezing a lemon, right? Juice of lemon. And then I poured it in your mouth, or I made you drink it from a shot glass. Just thinking about it. Did you salivate? That's a psychosomatic response, okay? Think about speaking in front of 1,000 people or a large audience. What happens? Your heart beats, you start to maybe tremor, you're nervous, you have clammy hands, your blood pressure goes up. Like, it hasn't happened, but just thinking about that, anticipating that, causes that physical reaction, right? So I want you to really think about, what kind of stress response have you had? Because endorphin rush when you're running away for your life. Fight or flight, you're running away. Your life is threatened. And if that's the state you're living, of course you're not going to sleep. Of course you're going to have digestive issues. Of course you're going to have blood pressure issues. Like, there's going to be so many things. Leaky gut, all those things are due to stress, right? Really need you to understand that. Mobility is prerequisite for health because musculoskeletal system, that's most of your body, you guys. It affects your endocrine function. It's the largest system in the body. It affects your hormones, endocrine function, immune system, digestive system, your whole neurological system, and cardiovascular system. Yet it's not something that is emphasized as important for autoimmunity. In fact, it's an afterthought. If anything, we're told to take it easy. Don't exercise too much. But did you know muscles atrophy? And if you don't use it, you lose it. And yet we have the most incidents of osteoporosis. We need resistive exercises and mobility. And yet most of autoimmune patients, I have seen it time and time again, they walk with walkers or they're on wheelchair, getting injectables like some type of treatment, and they're eating fast food because they lost the motivation to eat right. They're getting debilitated anyway. And I want you to know, I'm not okay with that. I hope you're not either, because it affects everything. Getting in and out of cars, getting, on and sitting down on the toilet is an issue for some of my patients. Transferring from bed to standing. Like, these are things that are significantly reduced, and pretty soon they can't even think about going to the airport, travel, vacations. All those things are completely out of the question, because ultimately they're going to need a walker and a wheelchair. And this is what we're going to be focusing on during our time together. When we're physically and strong and fit as can be physically, it does translate into our mental faculties. It affects everything in our lives, and it amplifies even the diets that we really adopt and other things. Medications work a lot better, so we don't need it anymore. Our body gets harmonious again, and it's within balance. And physical health is really the foundation that we need. Okay. Also, I've gotten a lot of question about this. If you struggle with weakness, fatigue, and pain, that's okay. You're still in the right place. You'll get the most value from this challenge because you need it the most. Okay, I promise you. And no one has ever said learning how to effectively heal and help my own body was the biggest mistake I made, right? And that's exactly what we're going to do. Okay, so let's get strong and fit, because now I'm going to stop sharing my video and get back to you. So here I am. I want you to go ahead and sit nice and tall. I hope you're sitting, because many of you guys kind of wrote to me and said, I can't sit on the floor. So we're going to do it in a seated position. You can have your feet flat on the floor, which I do. And you can just close your eyes, sitting up nice and tall. What's really important is that you have your spine perpendicular to your pelvis, right? And if you're on the floor and you're able to get down on the floor, you can sit in Sukhasana and sitting up nice and tall as well, okay? Sitting up nice and tall, I want you to go ahead and put your right hand over your heart, left hand over your belly. Take a deep breath in and slow breath out. Now what I want you to do, I'm going to teach you how to box breathe. And I want you to do this every time you feel anxiousness or you feel like you're full of negative thoughts and you want to shift yourself, okay? Take a deep breath in. I'm going to count you up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold at the bottom of that exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, inhale. 5, hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You can have your hands relax on your knees. And I want you to do it again. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very simple. Nobody has to know what you're doing. This is called the boxed breathing. If you feel like you can't hold that breath and you feel the lung capacity, common for anemic patients, pancytopenia, leukopenia, these are all things that are relevant to autoimmunity. If that's you, start with 3. Holding, inhaling for 3, holding up at the top of the inhalation for 3, and exhaling slow for 3, holding at the bottom of the exhalation for 3 counts, okay? I want you to do that. This really gets the autonomic nervous system into a balance to the calm and zen, the parasympathetic nervous system. From fight or flight, oh my gosh, I'm going to die, to no, I'm not. I'm going to repair my body and regenerate, and I'm going to calm myself down. And you get to be in the moment and occupy this body. Here's something that I want to say. Our body is the one home that we have for the rest of our lives. Yet we take care of our physical home so much better than we do our own body. Really need this body to be neurologically connected. When was the last time you ever thought about your breath, right? So the second exercise is also sitting up nice and tall. Place your hands, kind of cup it with your index and thumb around the rib cage. I want you to take a deep breath in. Make sure that your rib cage is expansive. It goes out, and then feel the rib cage widen. Inhale and exhale nice and slow. As slow as you can go. But also feel the shoulders relax. Rib cage comes down and in. Inhale and exhale. I'm a physical therapist, and I know that if you can't breathe, you can't function. Respiration, it's all about the lungs. There's the right lobe under the right rib cage, left lobe of the lung under the left rib cage. Respiration is where we exchange carbon dioxide for oxygen. Many of you guys struggle with the breath, right? Many of you guys struggle with brain fog, even headaches. All these things are because of lack of oxygen sometimes. And that's when you go to the hospital, they have an oximeter that measures the level of saturation of oxygen in your blood. And that's what's really important. So the more you can breathe, the more you can really diffuse your body with the proper oxygenation. Why that's important is because that facilitates the acidic into more the alkaline, as well as to enhance the metabolic process, as well as the detoxification. When we're in pain, in fight or flight, we don't think about that. We're just on the go. And so much cortisol is rushed into our system, causing so much inflammatory cytokines in the body. And that gets measured, evidenced by the lab results that we get, right? And I want you to this time think about your spine. Spine is what's connected from where you sit to the top of the head, okay? Spine is super important because our autonomic nervous system is here in the thoracic spine, in the chest cavity, as well as our abdominal cavity. This is where all our essential organs live. Cardiovascular system, with the heart pumping blood into our veins and arteries, that's cardiovascular. And then the immune system is within. And then there is the digestive system, the respiration, the lungs are underneath it, as well as our female organs and male organs, as well as all the things that goes along with the kidneys, right? All the functionalities of our body is within the endocrinological system is housed within our abdominal cavity as well. And so our spine is super important. But what happens when we're in pain? When was the last time you thought about your posture? Why you should have good posture and good muscles to support your musculoskeletal system, the biggest system or organ in the body that affects everything in the body, right? Sitting up nice and tall allows you to have more energetic flow into those areas. So we have a lot of vagal nerve disruptions with autoimmunity, and that's because of stooped up posture. When we're in pain, what happens? We really stoop down low. In Eastern medicine, there's a lot of thought behind certain emotions that go with the tightness, like low back is a lot of like the fear and anxiety. And then the shoulders is all about the stress of overburdening and all the obligations that we have. And digestion is all about the fear that we have and the worry. And so we have body systems that are attached to certain feelings. So I really need you to understand that. The heart is all about love, right? That feeling of love. And so I just need you to really understand the throat is all about expression, right? And there is different parts of our body. And so it's in our best interest to make sure that we have energetic flow there. So what I want you to do is use your arms. I want you to raise it up overhead, inhale. And when you do that, you're going to notice how you can expand a little bit more. Inhale and exhale all the way down. Inhale and exhale. And you know, when you inhale like this, you have so much energy going to your brain. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. Right arm up. Inhale. Really expanding to our right lobe of our lungs. And exhale into our left lobe and back. Inhale right. And back. And left arm up. And back. And just shake your arms or hand overhead and just shake, 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 shake. And let it go. And I want you to feel the buzz into your hands. Okay? Just feel that vibrant energy flow, right? And then I want you to sit nice and tall with your feet flat on the floor. I want you to have your hands right on your pelvis, not on your waist, but on your pelvis. I want you to rock it, like stoop it back, and then rock it forward. So let me show you what it looks like sideways. So sitting up nice and tall versus really rounding, pelvis tilt back, and then pelvis tilt forward. Pelvis tilt back. Don't let the abdominals pooch out, but I want you to keep it in. Inhale up, exhale. So connect it with your breath. Inhale and exhale. Just if it hurts you back here, because that area gets really tight for us, I want you to understand that you need to sit up nice and tall Let the muscles really hold you up as opposed to just letting everything go. And your bones are then subject to gravity. Gravitational force is always collapsing. And when you collapse in your spine, guess what? All those organs don't have a chance of connecting properly and working properly. Pelvis, right? Shift it back and forward. Just that alone really helps to loosen up the back. And then I want you to walk your hands forward all the way down. And then allow your head to hang, keeping your sit bones right on the chair. Feel this nice release, and then the blood rushing to your head. And then slowly walk your hands up your legs, nice and slow. And sit nice and tall. See how that feels? I hope you guys are really liking this. And so now what I want you to do, sitting up nice and tall, bring the right knee up to your chest, sitting up nice and tall, and then lower it down. Left knee right up to your chest and lower it down. I'm going to go back a little bit so you can get a little bit more of my feet. I had the camera set right, and then when I moved it. And foot is going all the way down, left leg up. And hold and down. So inhale, right leg and lower. So we're just walking seated in a chair because we're going to kind of gradually build up our functional mobility throughout our week. I want you to really raise that right knee up without having to go back, right? And stooping down, sitting up nice and tall. Right knee up and back. Left knee up and back. Let's do that a couple of times. Up and down. We're just working on the hip flexors here, which is super important. And some of you guys might be like, whoa, this is really a workout. It's connected to your core. So see if you can really sit up nice and tall. When I say nice and tall, I'm not joking. Most people will do this, like move with it. That's not what I want. I really need you to keep your spine nice and tall. Just move the knees, sitting up nice and tall. And you really can feel your abdominals kicking in to stabilize. Walk back and forth, and you should be feeling it in your thighs. We're up against gravity. Anytime I'm making you move your muscles against gravity, and that takes energy. And it's surprising how much this will do. Keep your knee up, and then I want you to straighten the knee and back. Straighten and back, sideways. Straighten and back. And if you can't keep the knee straight, keep it down low and do it like this. Or you might not even have to grab it if you have tight hamstrings. 3. Inhale out, exhale back in. Keep that knee raised. How many of you are feeling this in your quads? It's a good muscle to be working to improve your mobility. We need these muscles. And down. Ooh, I'm feeling it myself. And then the left leg, straighten and back. Keep it up though. It can't just be on the thigh, just like this. Not like that. That won't do anything. Raise the knee up, then straighten it out and back. Do it like you mean it. I always say if you're going to spend 10 minutes on this, do it so you are getting the results. 3, 4, how many of you feel this? 5, doesn't take much, you guys. Don't think, oh my gosh, this is so hard. We need to get out of that thinking. We need to say, I need to be vital. I need to regain my health back, right? You need to gain mind-body mastery. That's all there is to it. And back. Oh, dang, that's a lot, right? And then now I want you to do toe taps up. I'm going to see if I can bring the camera down a little bit so you can see my... Okay, perfect. I think that works. You see my feet, right? I'm going to see if I can go further back. Toes up and down. 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 When the toes come up, heels stay down and back down. It works the shins, and you should be feeling this. 3, 4, 5, 6. Take it all the way up. Full mobility, full range of motion. Okay? 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Hold and relax. Now, keep the toes down. Lift your heels up and down slow. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Very good, you guys. Right leg straight. And I want you to come forward like this. And you should be feeling the stretch behind the right leg. Breathe. Breathe. At least for 10 seconds. And back. Bend the right knee, straighten the left leg, and go forward. Don't hunch forward. Only as go forward as you can. It might be not much, and that's okay. You should feel a good stretch behind the thigh. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Come back. Very good, you guys. I want some comments about how you guys feel. How did that help you? And what are some thoughts? I'm going to share my screen again because I have some things to go over. All right. So I want you to think about it like this. Your body is like an orchestra, right? When you have an orchestra, every instrument plays an essential role to make beautiful music. And you can already guess what the orchestra would sound like, cacophony, right? When one instrument is out of tune, right? That's what happens in our body. Our musculoskeletal system is in danger for us autoimmune patients because when we're in pain and when we're too tired, what happens? Don't want to move. And that's why I called it mind-body challenge, because when you move and feel better, you get the motivation and the inspiration you need, just a little nudge forward to move anyway. And it's been the most important thing that makes the biggest difference, you guys. Trust me on this, okay? So what your health is really about is that your health is not an entitlement. I used to think it was, but it's not. It's a priority for a vibrant life. And unless you fight for it, it's going to be destructive or destroyed because of autoimmunity. Your health comes down to your mobility and control over your mind and body, okay? It really does. Nobody can have control over your mind and body but you, okay? Mobility improves all systems in the body. That includes your musculoskeletal, neurological, immune, cardiovascular, your hormone endocrine system, and digestive system. So how do you improve your mobility? Well, I showed you the first session what that entails. And remember, you guys, it's a lifelong journey. There's no quick fix. You can be healthy, but you've got to get clear and get committed, okay? You have to focus on the healthiness of it and have a clear vision of what that means. That's why I gave you a new set of health metrics. Because tomorrow we will learn shoulder. We're going to go over neck exercises and spine mobility and connect it to breath. And by day 5, you're going to be able to move dynamically and you're going to surprise yourself at what you can do. I promise. Also, you'll understand how such mobility works to enhance your metabolism, detoxification, and even respiration. And I want you to always come every day with an open mind and show up. And I really want you to really pat yourself on the back because you're the type of person that shows up and is committed, and you're doing this to be at the most healthy as can be. So I really want you to understand that you've done something. Okay, you've done an amazing thing and you are amazing. And really, for us to have the most healthiest, richest life, it's a God-given right that we all have. And let's take it back. And that's what this challenge is all about. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Really want you to fill out that health metric challenge. Please post it and share with me. It helps me a lot to really tune you in for me to understand where you are so I can help more specifically for your needs. Thank you so much for joining me. You guys are awesome. Love to all.